Sorry, there is no coffee break, but thank you for your patience. So I'm the co-founder of Rulai, and I'm also a professor in University of California, Santa Cruz. It's my honor to give a talk here. Just want to briefly introduce Rulai. We are the conversation computing platform and a solution provider. And so we're honored this year. We are selected by Forbes as the most promising AI company in America and the only conversation platform on the list. We are also one of the top 7 conversation platforms selected by Forrester last year and Gartner Cool Vendor. And what we are focusing on is provide empower enterprise digital transformation and innovation through what we call human-centered automation. With the advance of AI, we combine chatbots and robot process automation to build a virtual assistant that can help enterprise to remove a lot of frictions. For example, in customer service, you can improve resolution rate, better customer satisfaction. You can help a customer to do order management and check order status, and also help support customer, do customer onboarding, and if customer has troubles, you can help them. And you can also use that virtual assistant to manage loyalty programs and so on. And then you can also use virtual assistant to do sales and lead generation. The previous talk is some example. You can actually use the virtual assistant through the whole sales process from customer acquisition to improve conversion rate and to lead qualification, asking customer questions, nurture them, or finally, you can even provide personalized promotion, personalized recommendations. We have actually research publications on those topics. And we also help build virtual assistant for enterprise internal usages, for example, in the IT help desk, you can help employees to solve troubles, issues, and also for HR, the virtual assistant can help to do recruiting, employee onboarding, help employee fill all kinds of forms, and it can also help employee to better access their legacy systems that hasn't been changed for like decades, very difficult to use digital systems through the chatbots, and we have done all those for different customers. So actually, the promise of virtual assistant is there, and Forrester has this report, and we have seen various numbers in this conference. I believe that's why you are here, you are spending your valuable time in this conference. However, although the promise is there, but the reality is very bad. This year Forrester report, more than half of the customers are very frustrated with dumb bots. Okay, so there is a big gap between the reality and the promise. And some people who do it right get a good thing, but a lot of companies get bad results. And we look at it and say why that happens. Actually, if you look at the chatbot market, the market is a total mess. There are more than 1,000 companies in the space. And then if you look at AI, there are many AI companies don't deliver their promise. And the Financial Times reports, like for European companies, more than 40% of the company who claim they are AI company has no AI at all. And I think it's the same for the chatbot space. And that's where the problems are. As a researcher, I'm a researcher in this field for more than 20 years. I studied natural language processing in 1996. We built virtual assistant in Carnegie Mellon University in 1998. And we worked on this for more than 20 years, and we know it's a very difficult problem because the virtual assistant need to understand what you are talking about, and it need to provide coherent, meaningful, consistent responses, which requires the virtual assistant know if this is company's virtual assistant, you need to know the knowledge about the company. It also need to have common sense knowledge. It also need to have discourse understanding to understand the whole conversation, not just a sentence. And the virtual assistant need to take business process. We are doing human-centered automation to automate the business process through virtual assistant. So it need to take actions and decide when to take action, how to take action, and so on. Besides, it need to be interactive to put those together, building virtual assistant really need deep AI. Okay. So the problem is in the market, most people don't understand what AI means in this virtual assistant field and how to evaluate the AI ability of virtual assistant. And motivated by the field of autonomous driving car, they have very clear definition of what's AI ability in autonomous driving car, level 1 to level 5. We introduced the virtual assistant ability model. It's a model, it's a standard for evaluate virtual assistant. And even the name, if you look at the names of different levels, it's very similar to autonomous driving car because autonomous driving car is a special kind of virtual assistant. And it also gives us a guidance of how to improve the virtual assistant in the future. Okay? If you are on level 1, you may want to work towards level 2 and level 3 and so on. So let me briefly talk about the different levels. The first level, level 1, is human agent. Human agent assist, where the virtual assistant don't talk with customer. Here we have the customer, right? We have human agent. The virtual assistant actually provides suggestions, recommendations to the agent. This is very basic, but it turns out to be very useful. And then you can go to level 2. Level 2 is the virtual assistant will sometimes talk directly with the customer, for special for tasks, if the tasks happens as designed, or for questions that the virtual assistant knows the answer. That's level 2. But the virtual assistant, if the task conversation happens unexpectedly, the virtual assistant need to transfer it to human. Then for level 3, for designed tasks and then questions, the virtual assistant pretty much can handle all of those, no matter how the conversation flows. So the virtual assistant need to transfer human for unseen problems. And then for level 4, it's called full automation in design domain. That means the virtual assistant can take over all the conversation. Human only need to train the virtual assistant or recruit the virtual assistant. And then human can just go to sleep, have a cup of coffee, and virtual assistant does all the work in that domain. And level 5 is called human-like automation. For level 5, it's what people call general artificial intelligence. And then it actually goes beyond a particular domain. It's general open domain, human-like automation. That's a long-term future. Now I'm going to talk about the different levels, and as you go from one level to the next level, your expectation about the performance of the virtual assistant will be different. And from one level to the next level, you actually need technical breakthroughs to go to the next level. That's why they have those 5 levels. So for the level 1, that virtual assistant help agents. You only need basic technique like classification, search engine, answer retrieval techniques, single run retrieval results that based on the current conversation, show it to the agents. If it's wrong, that's okay. It's useful. And those are the techniques, when I teach classes in university, my students all build those techniques. For level 2, you need the virtual assistant now support multi-round conversation. And we have discussed before, for the same meaning, there are always different ways to say about it. For example, user will say, please book a flight for me to San Francisco tomorrow. Or say, I want to go to San Francisco, can you find the ticket for me? Right? Those are different meanings. The virtual assistant need to have the ability to handle the variation of natural language, to tell the intents of the user, that's book a flight, then to fill the slots. The slots are destination in San Francisco, date is tomorrow. So you need to do intent prediction and slot filling, and that's level 2. So when we come to level 3, we are looking at the scenario, actually it's more like human conversation, where when for the same task or for different tasks, the conversation can happen in all kinds of different ways. For example, the conversation control can switch between two speakers. If user can lead the conversation, later the bots can lead the conversation. That's called mixed initiative. And sometimes you may need to have multiple tasks mixed together in the whole conversation to get the user's problem solved. And sometimes when you are talking with user about one thing, user might suddenly switch topic to talking with something else, and you also need to support context switching. And sometimes user will say multiple problems and things in one or at the same time, then you need to handle them strategically. And so those are the things that happens when we have real human-human conversation, because conversation flow could be very dynamic. For level 3 virtual assistant, it's capable of handling variations of conversation flows. That's the next thing. That's actually the state of art. The state of art of virtual assistant is level 3. So the level 4, fully automation in a special domain, is where I have seen research and development in the lab. That is virtual assistant that's capable of handling unseen problems they have never seen before. How they do that, they need to have the ability to gather information, to do mathematical and logical reasoning, and then find the answer. And they need to have the ability to goal-oriented. If you tell virtual assistant a goal or problem, it needs to figure out, do planning to figure out how to solve the problem, even without being told how to solve it. And it also needs to learn about the particular domain, interactively learning from human and from other places, and through simple languages in that domain. So those are various abilities needed to support solving unseen problems in a domain. Once you can achieve that, you are more likely to get fully automation in a design domain. Next. And level 5 is handling unseen problems in open domain. For open domain, the virtual assistant now need to plan to solve problems they have never seen before and complicated that humans do. We solve a lot of new problems. And the virtual assistant need to answer basic how questions. It's not to find a search engine to find the answer. It actually need to work out the answer itself. And it also need to process comprehend abstract information and need to modify its own knowledge, behavior, skills, and preferences and from instructions using more open language. So there is a research field called general artificial intelligence, and there is annual conference on that topic. They are focused on level 5. Okay. As I mentioned, the state of art is level 3. It's conditional automation, where the virtual assistant is capable of handling the variations of natural language and the variations of conversation flow. When you can handle both, then for a task the virtual assistant has already been taught to do, it can solve them no matter how users say about it, no matter how the conversation flow is. So we can achieve conditional automation. So now I'm going to show 2 demos to illustrate the difference between level 2 and level 3. Because level 2 is where most of the virtual assistant chatbots, level 1 or level 2 are where most of the chatbots are in this market. And level 3 is a state of art. In this demo, first I will show you level 2. It's a virtual assistant in insurance domain. It has the ability to handle natural language understanding, slot filling, and so on. But it cannot handle diverse conversation flow. Flexibility is there. So the virtual assistant is capable of intent prediction and slot filling to fill the form, but not capable of flexible conversation. So that's the level 2. Now let's see the level 3, virtual assistant in the same domain. Now we are doing context switching to a different task. Now user is telling 2 intents, and the bot is capable of handling both. Then the bots also have memory, automatically go back to the original problem of getting insurance quota. And also capable of transferring to human as needed. Okay, as you can see, for level 3, the virtual assistant not only has the ability to handle natural language variations, it also has the ability to dynamically generate conversation flows based on the context. And the flow is never designed there. It's automatically doing the flow itself and planning itself. And as I mentioned, there are also level 4 and level 5 people are doing research on it. I expect in the future, how you train virtual assistant will be like how you train human. You no longer need to take a virtual assistant workshop or do some programming, or you don't need to do drag and drop design console. You can actually just talk with the virtual assistant like you talk with your new employee and tell them knowledge. The virtual assistant will learn by listening, observing, and trying and working, learn from penalty and rewards, then eventually achieve level 4 and level 5 virtual assistant. Level 4 could be short, middle term, and the level 5 will be much longer term. But people are working on that. And a little bit about what we do is, Rulai is a platform, is conversation platform and solution provider. We provide the platform for level 3 virtual assistant where you can do conversation design without coding, drag and drop, always limited coding when you do integration. And this empowers us to build smart virtual assistants that are capable of handling variation of natural language and the variation of conversation flow, so rich conditional automation. And then the platform can be managed by central team, and the design can be deployed to different business units of the company. So, and then it's generally a scalable approach for people to do, like a company to build like different virtual assistant for different markets, for different business unit. So we are a use case agnostic platform that empowering people to do that. And besides, we also realize, even with the right technology, although we have the level 3 virtual assistant technology, but AI is not perfect. So people actually need to have the right design methodology and development methodology to build virtual assistant. So we actually have a Rulai Institute, which is a research and teaching education part of our company. And the team members has published more than 400 research papers related in AI, and we also offer courses. So here are some examples of instructors in the institute. We have, of course, I'm teaching there, and we also have Professor Jamie Callan from Carnegie Mellon University. He's actually organizing the virtual assistant evaluation conducted by National Institute of Standard Technology this year. And we also have, here are the AI professors. We have some AI professors. We also have user experience professors from like University of Washington, University of California, and also industry practitioners teaching the course. And we generally, it's more like all you need to know about building a virtual assistant. To start building a virtual assistant, you will learn about the design analysis, how to build, how to evaluate, how to deploy, how to iteratively improve, and some basic AI needed for that. And in this 1 or 2 day training, you actually build a virtual assistant. Our homework is like building a coffee ordering virtual assistant. Besides, we cover very practical topics of how you build meta bots to handle many bots in the company and so on. Okay. And so that's all for my talk. Thank you. So if you are interested in the virtual assistant ability model, here is a link where you can download our white paper. It's like 12 pages, more details in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Round of applause for Yi. We're going to do a quick Q&A. 5 questions. First hands up. I got one over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. And I feel a little bit generous today, so you're going to get twice the amount of tickets. So we'll start here.
Hi, Yi. Thank you. What are we missing right now that we don't have to get to a level 4?
Get level 4.
Yes, what are we missing right now that we don't have?
Planning is very difficult, right? And the planning is something you actually don't have. There are actually a long list of things we are missing to handle unseen problems. So we currently actually can solve some unseen problem already, like in our company, but not to the level that's like 90% or 100%. like 50% on question answering, and then for problem planning, we can do planning for certain type of tasks, but if you think about all kinds of tasks, then planning will be challenging. Planning, reasoning, inferencing, all those are things where when you look at state-of-art natural language processing, they don't have much research on that. Yes?
Hi, my name is Nikhil. I work in automotive OEM. My question is, in the map that you had, all the levels of automation, I don't see it translating directly to a bot that is voice-based. It seems like the framework works for a text-based bot, but not necessarily voice-based. A specific example I could give is, like, I didn't see agency as an aspect that any of the levels had in your framework.
Voice-based?
Yeah, voice-based
Okay.
bots.
So I want to mention that this 5 level is focused on AI. And there are some other reports and levels that talk about that focus on product features. For product features, then you will come like a voice, multimedia interaction, and so on. And then those features if your company build it, then you have those features there. But here, when I talk about AI, it's not whether you build it or not. You actually need technical breakthrough, and when you come to higher level, we don't even have it in this world, right? So it's a different perspective. So, for example, you cannot say text retrieval, question answering is easier or harder than speech recognition. So there is not a level in terms of difficulty or technical challenge and AI depth.
Hi. How do you resolve the problem with the training data in the different domain and the different languages?
I'm sorry? Okay.
How do you resolve the problem with the training data in the different domains and the different languages?
Okay. I didn't talk about it. It's some other thing we do, right? If you look at the advance of natural language processing, the major advance in the last few years are deep learning-based language models and so on. And we actually have publication back in 2000 about deep learning for language models, by the way. At that time, people don't believe us. Now it's very hot. If you look at the deep learning models, and which can train from like the internet data, we have a lot of internet data. And then you look at for most of people it's black box, but for us it's not. You look at it, you will find it's already know phrases. And then you look at the weights inside the model, link the weights, then you see something more like dependency passing tree inside the words. And then you look at the model structure further detail, you find the model is actually capable of learning composition ability of human language, more like some people call syntactic parsing. And so the pre-trained model already have quite some ability there. Then when you come to a domain, with those abilities there, what's really missing are domain-specific things. So because those pre-trained model, you don't need as much big data as you probably thought you need to. That's advancing in AI. Besides, the company already have domain like unstructured data, structured data, database, or knowledge graph, like your emails or knowledge graph. And those information can help start the bots with information. When you combine all those things together, we can better solve the limited training data problem. Thank you.
There was 2 more. Where are you guys at? We are giving away dots, echo dots. So 2 more questions. If not, we'll move on. All right, let's keep it moving. Round of applause. Thank you very much for Yi.